Alright, welcome back. This week while I'm painting, I want to talk about the key things I did differently to hit all of my 3-month goals for the first time ever. As always, a quick disclaimer, I'm not some expert on anything I talk about, I'm just sharing my experience. Also, there's timestamps in the description if you want to skip around. So before this year, every time I would set my goals, I'd feel like I'd put in a lot of effort and try my best, but it always felt very inconsistent. I'd put a lot of effort into one goal at the cost of all my other goals for a while, then I'd switch to try and compensate, but then I'd find myself looking back at the end of a few months and realise that I hadn't really moved the needle on any of them, and this was really frustrating. So at the start of this year, I decided to try a different structure when it comes to setting and achieving my goals, and there was a few things in particular that made a really big difference. The first thing that made a big difference was setting input goals rather than output goals. So rather than setting a goal like get in shape, I wrote work out 3 times a week and follow this meal plan. Basically, it's setting a goal where the focus is on the actions I want to take rather than the result. And making this change was super useful, and I think the main reason why was because it forced me to think about trying to find a balance between putting in enough effort to make good progress while also trying to make it an amount I could do consistently. Before, I would always set these crazy high input goals. I would always set these massive goals that would require 12 hours of work a day, and then I would quickly burn out within a few weeks. So this time I set goals that I knew would stretch me and make me more capable, but it was also at a level that I knew I wouldn't fall off completely. And knowing I'd set these goals in this sweet spot was great because it gave me more day-to-day motivation and stopped a lot of excuses from getting in the way. Because I knew I'd set, if you like, a fair challenge for myself that I just put the effort in consistently, I could achieve. Another big change I made was planning the key things I needed to do at the start of each week. I used to plan everything the night before, but I found I would always forget something or spend too much time in one area and not have time for the rest. But having these things all scheduled in advance, all the big key things, stopped this from happening. It also made it much easier to be a bit more flexible and move things around, which really helped. Another thing I did was I did weekly and monthly reviews. And when I was doing these, I made a deliberate point to acknowledge the progress that I'd made. I tend to be someone who judges themselves pretty harshly, so even if I'm putting in a lot of effort and getting close to my goal, I default to thinking things like, I could have done more, I should be getting better faster, this improvement wasn't big enough, etc. And this makes it really difficult to keep going when I'm actually improving, but because of the way I was thinking about things, it always felt like I was behind and it always felt like I was losing. So taking the time to acknowledge the progress I was making was really, really valuable. I made a rule that if there was any progress, it didn't matter how small, I had to at least acknowledge it. And this created sort of a positive loop. I'd put a bunch of effort in, acknowledge the progress that I'd made, and then feel more capable of putting in more effort and making more progress the next week or month. Instead of making progress, beating myself up, and feeling worse regardless of how much I'd actually improved. The final thing that I did that really helped was I looked out for Keystone Habits. So Keystone Habits are the habits that support other habits, and they're usually, or in my case, small. So for example, I found that regardless of how much effort I'm putting into watching my diet and exercising, if I stop weighing myself regularly, it all starts to slide off. Whereas if I'm weighing myself regularly, the diet and the workouts sort of take care of themselves without very much effort. So I was trying to look for these keystone habits that are small and easy to do that make a big difference. So I would think about the days or the weeks that went really well and try and identify what small habits I was doing differently. And over time, I started to notice a few of them. And as soon as I noticed one, I would prioritize it. This was really, really helpful because I knew that if I just kept on top of these small keystone habits, the rest would take care of itself. And it also stopped me from slowly falling off track, which was something I was really concerned about going into trying to achieve these 3-month goals. So those were some of the key things I did differently, but I want to quickly talk about the effect that it's had. So having for the first time ever hit my 3-month goals, it's given me something solid that I can point to. Before, I would always feel like I was going 2 steps forward and then 2 steps backwards. But now I've got something that I can point to where I made consistent, steady progress. and it's evidence that I can do it again. I wake up every day just feeling stronger and more capable, and for the first time ever I actually believe I can continue to grow. All I have to do is show up and put the effort in. So those are the 3 key things I did differently to hit my 3-month goals. I'd love to know what you do to try and stay on track with your goals, so let me know down in the comments. As far as how painting went this past week, it's been really fun. I'm still exploring pushing things and not sticking to the rules so much. I found some awesome music to listen to while I paint, which has been really helpful, and there's just loads of ideas I want to try, so I'm really excited for all of that. Thanks for watching, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider dropping me a like and subscribe if you want to know when my next video comes out. Take it easy.